Hi, I entitled this video, Are You a Slave? And we're just gonna develop a little bit what we think of in terms of whether we are slaves to circumstance or to our jobs, our employment, our money, our wealth, our state of being. Well, I think the right way of approaching it is to do more with less. So get more accomplished with less resources if possible. That is a good way of seeing things. So, I mean, you do what you can to survive, but I think that this useless greed or reliance on money to solve problems doesn't really work because you want more money to buy more things, and money betrays you. You get robbed. It doesn't really help you a lot of the time, uh, as an ideal. I mean, sure, it's nice to have money so that you can spend it, but what are you spending it on and how is it helping you? And why not just develop within yourself an idea that solves the problems without too much money so that you don't have to worry about having money in the first place to solve your problems or have too much money to solve their problems? So, in that sense, you can become less of a slave, technically, to our economy. But whether or not you are a slave to circumstance or fate, that is another thing that may not be escapable. But I guess if you are a slave to fate, then there's not really anything you can really do about it, and you must follow fate regardless, because it's still just going to execute itself, and you're going to follow its protocols regardless. But I think if we're going to think of how we can be more free, how we can have more time, how we can do more with less, I think that just requires some tact, some intelligence, but it can be done. And we may be able to live happily with less money, to provide for ourselves with less, to have the necessary resources. Um, so that vision is still applicable, still possible. Because I don't want to live a lie like it is important to amass the most amount of wealth when the most amount of wealth amassed is probably stolen wealth, is not faithful or honest wealth, is lacking in senses of integrity or character, is not so important as the development of character and strength. Um, so, whether we are a slave, I mean, we can still be a slave to, I suppose, higher knowledge, um, because we're not going to be free of what we know, and what we know will condemn us to search more for what we know. And in that sense, we can be slaves, but I think there is a liberating sense if you realize that these uh, obstacles have already been defeated or have been resolved already. Then it is a liberating feeling knowing you don't have to work so hard to make too many resources to live a consistent life. Or the, I mean, not not the kind of life that where you're lying to yourself and you're thinking you need to make the most amount of money to be consistent when you can solve those problems with less in the first place. So you don't need to really be anyone or anything, which is preferable. So there is a liberating sense in that. I guess you can be less of a slave to this economy, to its structures. Um, I mean, who do you really serve? And I know what you might want to answer, but I kind of have my own answer to that. And it obviously isn't, the structured economy or my boss. I don't serve my boss or the boss of a company. Like that would be, in my mind, very low of me because I see myself as a higher being than they are. I see myself as more consistent, as more resolved. So I wouldn't lower myself to the level of thinking that they were above me because they had more money than me, we will say. I don't think like that. I don't think they're more useful or intelligent. Usually, I don't think that at all. All right. Thank you for listening. That was just, I guess, my thoughts on that. Um, we'll see where life takes us. Thanks for listening.